As I was walking down the stairs, I heard knocking at the door, and it was Ben. He greeted me and we said our pleasantries. He asked how my sleep was. Well, apart from the nightmare, my sleep was pretty good. He said the cook will now make breakfast, and that he will be making his rounds around the property to make sure everything was in order. I asked him to join me for breakfast. He handed me the Santanino and said he found it in the backyard. He said maybe I left it in the backyard while I was walking around. I could have sworn I left that on top of the dresser. I thought nothing of it. I took it and thanked him. I went back upstairs and placed the Santanino on top of the dresser again, just to make sure I remember. I took a picture of it and went downstairs for breakfast. Ben was going to show me the rest of the property today. I have no idea how they keep the property afloat. Ben was going to show me exactly how. I sat on the table and immediately I was salivating at the food in front of me. I don't get to eat Filipino food all the time because the Filipino grocery in Chicago is a bit far from where I live. I looked at the table. There's longanisa, garlic fried rice, eggs, and hot dogs. For some reason, the hot dogs in Philippines taste different than in the US. I don't know how, and I don't know why. They just do. I ate my breakfast and took a shower and got dressed. I opened the back door and saw Ben with two 4x4 ATV ready for the both of us. You have no idea how excited I was. You see, my mom was very protective, and things with wheels were dangerous. I couldn't even make my bike jump, all because she was afraid I would get hurt. I don't blame her, but as an adult, I am riding this ATV. We made our way through the property. I didn't know my dad had different plantations at the back of the property. Pineapples, coconuts, and mangoes. Lots of mangoes. Ben looked at me and said, "You wanted to know what I do here?" Well, this is most of it. I make sure that the plantation have good harvests and nobody is stealing. Whatever we make here, after we pay everything, goes to the family bank account. Curious, I asked. Family bank account? Nobody told me there was a bank account. Ben said, yes. The family has a bank account, specifically for the plantation, and it's all yours. I said, what about you? They put you in charge of it. Ben responded, yes, well, towards the later years of your great-grandfather, he was unable to leave the property, so I had to handle everything. Since Ben is a trusted part of the family, yes, I consider him family, because he has spent his life serving this family, as if it were his own. So I told Ben, I don't need the money. Our business in the US was doing well. I know life is hard in the Philippines. I asked him how much was in the bank account. 7.7 million pesos, he answered. That blew my mind. I couldn't believe my great-grandfather had this money in a bank that's being taken care of by someone other than him. The amount of trust he had for Ben was amazing, to say the least. That made me trust Ben even more. And since the property now belongs to me, I told Ben, I have never spent a day cultivating even an inch of the soil in this property. The money does not belong to me. That money rightfully belongs to you now. I'm giving you that. Continue what you're doing here, and this will be your business from this day on. He looked at me and smiled and said thank you. I promise you this. Whenever you are here, you will be taken care of. You will never have to worry about food, and you will be able to enjoy your stay. That sounded like a sweet deal to me. I don't have to work a single day when I'm here, and I'm taken care of. That's worth it. We both laughed and I asked if I could pick some fruits. He said of course. He said to pick whatever I liked. I didn't want to pick randomly because it would be a waste, and if I couldn't eat it, every waste was wasted money for them. Some of them were so ripe, it was enticing to climb the mango tree. Now, I have never climbed a single tree my whole life. My mother would have had a heart attack if she saw me climb a tree. I climbed. I wanted that mango. It looked so sweet. The workers looked and smiled. They just allowed me to do whatever I wanted. I went straight to the pineapples. Oh my god. You have to be very careful with those leaves. They're sharp. I've never picked pineapples before, so I had no idea until I scraped myself a few times. So, I chose 2 pineapples that looked sweet and ripe. I didn't mind the scrapes on my hand. I tried to climb a coconut tree. It didn't work out well. All I got were more scrapes. But then I saw everyone else climb, and boy, they were surely faster than squirrels. I was amazed at how well they climbed coconut trees. One by one, coconuts started falling. Ben told me to take a step back or the coconuts will hit me. We sat afterwards and opened a couple. I have never tasted coconut water that tasted like that. It was better than any store-bought coconut water in the US. It was simply divine. I enjoyed every minute of my time in the plantation. I have never been in a plantation. I have lived a very sheltered life. Being out here, seeing everybody, seeing how everything works, and how everyone works together, it was like seeing a whole new world. Afterwards, Ben said, "These 3 aren't the only things we have. Behind the plantation, we have a cornfield." Wait, what? We have a cornfield? In my defense, it's not that I have not seen corn. I actually love corn. I was surprised and excited. I was eager to pick corn and bring them back, cook them, and basically eat corn all night. He said, "Go ahead. Choose whichever one you want. We can take it back to the house." We rode our ATV, and wow, there was corn as far as the eyes could see. Ben shouted, "Don't go too far," as I was running around picking corn. He said it's dangerous out there. I was confused as to why he said it was dangerous. It's just corn. Then I realized as I was getting scrapes and cuts on my arms that corn leaves are sharp, and they were cutting me. I stopped and I picked more corn. It started drizzling, but now it's early evening. Ben was calling me. I started walking towards him. A huge lightning lit the sky, and from afar I noticed a black figure just standing there. I thought, wow, they even have a scarecrow. Until it moved. I hurried towards Ben, who at this point was already shouting my name, telling me to return to him. He was frantically calling my name. I could see his hand over the cornfield. As soon as I got to the edge, I told Ben about what I saw. He grabbed my arm and pulled me away from the cornfield and towards the ATV. He said, "You have to go home now." I was puzzled. He never explained. He just kept on saying that we have to go home now. We got back to the house. I pressed him about what happened. Why did he sound so scared? He told me, "Did you see that black mass?" And I said, "Yes." He said that those things appear on rainy evenings. Those are the lost souls that are in limbo. Souls with tremendous attachments. And if you get close, they take you with them. I'm not a superstitious person. and I do not believe in ghosts, goblins, fairies, or even Santa. Well, I stopped believing in Santa when I caught my parents putting presents under the tree when I was 4 years old. Back inside the house, I was still excited about my corn. Whatever that thing was, it can stay out there for all I care. I'm staying here with my delicious corn. I asked the cook to prepare the fruits and the corn. It's almost dusk. Ben reminded me to lock the doors and the windows because it's Lenten season. I looked at him confused because I wasn't a religious person. He explained to me what is a Lenten season. He said, tomorrow is when Jesus dies. So make sure you lock everything, because evil is more powerful when God is dead. There's a lot of beliefs in Philippines, and I don't want to be disrespectful. The main reason why I came here was to learn how my ancestors lived, and this tradition is part of their culture and way of life. I wanted to learn more. I decided why not lock everything. It's better to be safe than sorry. My dinner was ready at 6 p.m. That's very early considering I used to eat dinner at 10 p.m. Ben and the cook bid me farewell and a pleasant evening, and I bid them safe travels. This is a very different world that I am being exposed to, where people wake up before the sun is up and sleeping by 9 p.m. It was starting to get dark outside as I was finishing my dinner. I locked the windows first, and I locked the front and back doors. Nothing was stirring outside except for crickets. As I was walking up the stairs, I heard something creaking. I went back down. I can hear the noise coming from the family room. It was my great-grandfather's rocking chair, moving back and forth. The window was open, but there was no wind. Maybe it was just a gust of wind that opened the window and moved the rocking chair. The chair was creeping me out, so I stopped it from moving. I went up the stairs and headed straight for my room. Everything was calm and quiet, uneventful to say the least. I called my mom. I told her what I did. She almost had a heart attack yelling at me. I reassured her that I was fine and that I was being careful. Afterwards, sleep was suddenly visiting me at 9 p.m. I brushed my teeth and washed my face. I laid myself on the bed and slowly drifted off to sleep. I had another dream. This time, I looked at the clock. It was 1 a.m. I got up and I went to the bathroom to pee and wash my hands. When I came out from the bathroom, the grandfather clock downstairs began to chime. I looked at the clock in my room, and it was 3 a.m. Wait a minute. I couldn't have been in the bathroom for 2 hours. I just peed and washed my hands. That doesn't take 2 hours. My watch, the clock in my room, and my cell phone agreed with the grandfather clock. It's 3 a.m. I went downstairs. It's 3 a.m. No big deal. It was very dark outside. And even inside the house, I turned a couple of the lamps on, but they just flickered and died. I thought, the house is a bit old. Maybe it needs new light bulb, or maybe the wiring is faulty. I went back up the stairs, and that's when I heard a familiar noise. It was my grandfather's rocking chair. I went back downstairs to the family room to see what was going on. The rocking chair was moving again, and this time, it had its back to me, and now facing the window. I looked at the window and it was open. I went towards it to close it. After closing the window, I turned around and see the chair facing me. There, seated, the Santonini. I could have sworn it was on top of my dresser. What is it doing down here? I picked it up and the chair stopped moving. I took it back upstairs and into my room and placed it back on the dresser. As I put the Santonino down, I hear a knock on the front door. I went downstairs again and looked through the window to see if anyone was there. I remember the first time I had a dream. During the first dream, there was someone outside my window staring at me through the glass. This time I opened the window. There was nothing but darkness. As soon as I locked the window again, there was a knock on the back door. I thought they must have ran to the back. This is a very big house. You can't just stroll to the back that quickly. I went to the back door. The door has a peephole. I looked. Nothing. It's just pitch black. I turned away from the door and headed to the stairs and just brushed it off. Suddenly, there was a knock again. I turned around and I looked through the peephole. To my surprise, a shiver went up and down my spine. There was an eye staring right back at me. It was staring at me. I fell backwards onto the floor, a loud thud, and I crawled backwards away from the door. I don't know what that was or who that was, and I don't care. I'm not opening the door, and whatever that person or thing is outside is not coming in. I am afraid. I'm not afraid to say that I am afraid. And at this very moment, I am very afraid. As I was catching my breath with my heart racing, I hear a knock on the front door. I looked. There was nothing. No one was there. Suddenly, I hear a scratching noise from the window. I don't know which window. The sound seems to echo everywhere. I looked around, there was nothing. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm afraid to look outside. I'm afraid that whoever owned that eye that stared at me will be out there when I look. I go back up the stairs. 2 steps from the door. I heard bang. I heard a loud bang coming from the front door. I went downstairs, but this time I decided to arm myself. I went to the fireplace and picked up a metal poker. I don't care. Whatever it is, whoever it is, if they come in, I'm going to fight. I was going to open the door, and if anyone was stupid enough to come in, I was going to beat the living hell out of anyone or anything that walks through that door. I took a deep breath to try and calm my nerves. This is it. My heart is beating so loud I can't hear anything. With my hands shaking, I opened the door. Nothing. There was nothing. Everything stopped. I looked down, and Santa Nina was there, in front of my door. I picked it up and I began talking to him. Hey there, buddy. What are you doing out here? You should be inside. I don't know why I picked it up again. I don't know why I was talking to it, as if it would respond or explain what is going on with this place. I closed and locked the door. I moved the heavy chair in front of the door. I went up the stairs and I returned to Santinino back on top of the dresser. I don't know why this thing keeps disappearing and reappearing in random places. I was exhausted. I decided it would be best to take a rest. I looked at the clocks and to my amazement, not even a minute has passed. All of them still say 3 a.m. I put no mind to it. I laid back in bed and I pulled the covers to my chest. I closed my eyes. Again, I felt a pair of hands on my neck, my wrists, and my ankles. This time I couldn't open my eyes, but I could hear someone breathing right next to my ear. It whispered, "You belong here with us." That's when I jolted up, waking up from this terrible nightmare. I looked at the time, and it said 6 a.m. I looked on top of my dresser and the Santinino wasn't there anymore. I rushed downstairs. I see Ben and the helper in the kitchen. I asked Ben if anything weird happened when they came in. He said no, and asked if there was something wrong. And I said no. It's just that I had another nightmare. Ben said to brush it off. I'm in a different place, so it's understandable that the mind could play a trick. I went to the family room to see the Santinino sitting there. Without saying a word, I took it back to my room and placed it on top of the dresser again. At the dining table, Ben joined me and said, "Today is time for reflection."